So, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all you wonderful participants over there. So, this is Divya. I'm your course coordinator. So, today's section, we're going to be talking more on the Montessori grammar symbol box. Just to start with the importance of what I could say is like on the language development to our children. So, we have seen that language development is one of the critical aspect of every child's early education, and especially why it is considered to be crucial during the preschool years is because it lays a good foundation for their communication skills. At the same time, it also gives a good amount of social interactions, and which in turn leads to the academic excellence and success for a child. Now, what are the other key reasons why should we work on the language development? As I said earlier, communication is the primary means, right? So language is considered to be as a primary means of communication. I can still communicate with others. There are non-verbal communications, right? So we can definitely communicate in different ways, but language forms one of the strong ways or the strong means of communication. So again, here, what we were always working was like always to children so that the child will be able to express their thoughts and ideas, their emotions very effectively. So, when a child has the ability to interact with their friends or teachers, parents, or caregivers, what happens? The child becomes much social. The child will definitely have an emotional development. Keeping all of these, how can I work on the conceptual or the cognitive development? Now, can I still work on the cognitive development? Definitely yes, because every time we are working on oral language development, what is one thing that we are trying to focus on? We work on vocabulary development, isn't it? So we work on enriching the vocabulary. So oral language is actually getting introduced to. So the child is also learning new words. Each day the child is learning many new words. So that means when I am learning new words, maybe I'm introduced to new concepts also. At the same time, what happens since the teacher is talking in a right grammatical sentence, the sentence structure is also grammatically correct. So that would expand the child's cognitive development, and it would create an environment so rich in language that the child will definitely be able to overcome any kind of issues. Maybe problem solving, the child becomes better. The child might also have good memory skills also. So it's indirectly helping me to improvise on my literacy, right? It is helping me to work on my literacy also. So when I talk on literacy, I would still be working on how well that I would introduce reading to child, how well that I would be able to introduce writing to child. So in our previous classes, we learned to help on reading or the oral language exercises. What were some of the exercises that we could learn on? So we worked on classified cards, nomenclature cards, social relations, we worked on story time, rhyme time, right? So dramatics, theater skills, and all of that, which helped me to actually get a thorough, what I could say, exposure towards words, or it could be thorough exposure towards the vocabulary. So don't you think that it has got a overall regulation on the vocabulary growth? So it's much more crucial. I totally understand. But are we still working on the academic readiness here? Definitely, yes, because we are still working on the concepts, right? So it's not only that you're learning language, but at the same time, whenever you talk, when you work on words, we are also supporting the acquisition of concepts in math, science, other subjects, which is contributing to my academic readiness. So having all of these is where we worked upon certain other exercises when it came down to writing. So what was my first exercise when I got into my writing? I understood what are my letters, how is my letter representation, what are my letter sounds, how is its graphical representation, right? Then I started working on my sound games. Like when I'm having two letters being combined, I can actually have a consonant and a vowel being combined, or I can have a consonant vowel and a consonant combined. So I'm trying to work on my blends, correct? So every time that I'm working, I'm introducing the sounds to children. The child should be able to work on the beginning, the middle, and the ending sounds. To support all of that, I definitely went into or learnt about the movable alphabet. Then we slowly worked upon sandpaper letters. metal-in sets. We saw different exercises in metal-in sets like single outline fill-in, double outline fill-in, two concepts, two pencils, wherein we could run through. So we saw the error of control when the child was not able to work on those. Like if you remember, we worked on multiple shapes that we intersected and we did the same pattern. So that was one of my metal-in sets conceptual pre-writing skill material that I could say. From there on, we went towards preparing a child's handwriting. We worked on preparing the hand as well as preparing the mind. So we used tools like chalkboards. Then we started sorting the symbols based on movable alphabets and based on sandpaper letters. We wrote on paper. We got the differences between our uppercase, lowercase. We got into using the punctuations rightly. We learned about when to use a capital letter, when to use comma, when to use a period, right? When to use a question mark. Slowly, we got into transcriptions, if you all remember, a homely saying, a riddle, a puzzle, or something, right? So, all those transcriptions and spellings were very crucial. So, we also looked into where the child can actually go wrong on spellings. From there, we got into something called as total reading. Now, total reading is for our today's topic. This is where we are working on our grammar symbol box. Okay, so in the last class also I was introducing you all to our grammar symbol box material. So wherein what is our noun? So we have parts of speech. How does my noun look like in that particular material? Noun
Black
is
triangle.
represented by a large black triangle. So noun is represented by a large black triangle. Now, why a noun is represented by a large black triangle? So we don't have any kind of proven methodologies as such, but there are certain color codes for all of that. Now, noun here in your preschooling, we are only learning about noun. But when in elementary, we would learn about common nouns, proper nouns, all of that, and we go a little bit more deeper into it. So we learn about types of nouns, collective nouns. Okay, so all of that would come down into my elementary, and we would see there are different segregations, like how we classified the cards, like say fruits, how I classified into tropical fruits, seasonal fruits, like that. Nouns also we will further subcategorize into all these kinds of noun forms. But to start for a preschooling, it is not required. So you will basically go through the 7 parts of speech. That's your noun, which is represented by a large black triangle. Then is what you would have your article, right? So article is represented by a light blue triangle. So that's your article. Then I would have my adjective. Now I could always say that in a noun family, these three are very important for me to describe something, right? So to say something about some object, I would need a noun, an article, and an adjective. So they're always grouped together. For example, if I have a car, so if I have car, if I have one out of many, so I say it as a car. But if it is only one car, I say the car, right? So what are my combinations here? So I'm having an article and a noun here. So don't you think that any time that I see this particular object, I say, wow, what a car, that car, right? So you always refer through an article itself, like, the and then an is what we would generally use it to represent or to say a particular noun. Now, for example, in case if I want to describe that noun a little better, I say the brown car, the black car, the red car, the white car. So you always describe it. So what you have to work over here, whenever you're working on your symbol cards, you have to make this label separately. Okay, so in your grammar symbol box, you get this label separately. And every time that you read the sentence, it can't be together. So what the teacher would ask the children to do it, so she will ask them to cut this card. So you are going to split the cards. So now A is a separate label, car is a separate label, right? So the labels are totally separate. Now, once they are separated, now you bring an adjective to it to describe that noun. So I bring an adjective called brown, right? So now if I have the labels together, what will happen? I have to only keep shuffling between those, a car brown or brown a car. So when I'm reading it, it doesn't make sense. So that's the reason we cut That's the reason we would be able to cut the article from a noun. You're able to follow me? Shanta? Yes? Rupam?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So when you have all the three labels separate, when you shuffle these three, now I can say a brown car. So what did we understand over here is always an adjective is before a noun. Okay, an adjective is always before a noun, something that we can actually get through learning of this. Now, how does my learning would actually start from this exercises? Let me quickly show you that. Just a second, let me open my PPT. Is it a working day for you guys or it's a holiday?
Holiday, ma'am.
It's a holiday for all of you? Okay.
Holiday.
Okay. Okay, take a look. So you would have this as your material. Okay, so this we call it as function of words material. And now in this box, you will have a separate section where you can actually place your article. And you would have a separate place where you will be placing your noun cards. Okay, so when I have this, coming down to the next particular thing is like, what is my aim? Why should I introduce articles to children is something that I have to be learning. Now, article can be a, we learnt an, and we learnt about the, right? So nouns can be anything, a name of a person, a name of an object, name of a place, anything. So you can have all these, the noun cards. Now take a look at the labeling. Now the labeling, if you see here, it is slightly brown. It is not orange. It's slightly that brownish orange color is what you would have. So when a child actually sees this one, they understand about the cards also will be specifically to these colors. Okay. And sometimes you also get to see in the next exercises when I show you the cards, you will be able to see that the article can be represented in this way also. So your first thing is like, to figure out to make these label cards and keep it ready before you introduce an article to a child where you will be explaining it to the children. So what are the materials required? So I would require a mat and I would ask children to work on these particular cards. Now say for example, I can have two sets of cards. One is like, with the entire and chair together. One is where I would cut that particular label card and I would be able to show it to children also. Okay. So these are the two things that I would be able to work. Say for example, see, I'm having three kinds of chairs, but still the child will be able to say a chair, a chair, a chair. So that means an article will not change even if the type of chairs changes. So sometimes the children will also have difficulty realizing this also. So you give them an object, the child should be able to keep the label card accordingly. Now, what if in my next exercise, if I don't want to do that particular way, as in when I would be moving further, I should be able to give children other kinds of exercises wherein when I introduce my nouns to children, how would I introduce my nouns to my children? Okay, so for that, I would again go with my noun cards. Now, if I want to describe it a little bit better, I would also be working on my adjectives, correct? So when I work with my adjective, we have seen that adjective is representing the describing word and it is dark blue. Can you all see the dark blue label card over here? So that becomes my dark blue card and I want the children to actually represent. Now can you see the pink pig? Okay, let me go a little slow here. Okay, give me any object. Give me any object. Anything. Any noun. We'll go a little slow. Then I will show the PPT. Shoe. Okay. Okay, shoe is a noun. We all agree?
Yes.
You have yes, shoe is a noun. Now, is it one of it or many of it?
One.
One of it. If it is one of it, what is the article that I use? If it's one,
The shoe.
The shoes. The shoe.
I say the shoe. That
The
means
shoe.
I had only one shoe, so now I got that shoe. but there were many of them, but I picked one of it, then it becomes a shoe. Correct, Shweta? You're with me? See, there are two shoes here, or there are many shoes. If I want to take one from that, I say a shoe. If there was only one cat here, I would say a cat, and it's only one single one. Sorry, the cat. Okay, so if it's one of it, it becomes the. If it's many of it, and if you pick one, it becomes a. So that becomes your article. Now we picked, there was one, so I picked the shoe. Now can you describe the shoe?
Black shoe.
The
Black shoe.
shoe. So this is one label. Now the colors can be black, the color can be brown. Now what do you think the color is now? It's a black shoe.
Yes.
The child will have to first figure out whether this is black or this is black. So this is black. Now what is the next thing that they're going to do? So they take this particular object and they try to keep the label card. Okay, they try to keep the label card and they try to read it. Now try to read the sentence. The shoe black. Does it make sense or does it sound right? Does it?
Yes.
No, it doesn't sound right. So what should I do now? I got to shuffle my card. So I say, now read it.
Black shoe.
Black the shoe. Does it sound right? No.
No.
So what do we do now? Then the teacher gets the scissor. She cuts it. And there are 3 different labels now. Now you shuffle it. Now when you shuffle, try to read this.
Brown shoe.
Does it make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
It makes sense. So that means we got to understand that whenever you are further constructing your sentences after a phrase, you cannot have the labels being together. So every part of the word has to be a separate label. Now you got me? We can't have the labels together. It has to be separate. The child will be able to construct the words as in when, replace the words depending upon what is the structure of the sentence. So what we've learned from this exercise is an adjective is a describing word of a particular noun. So it describes the noun a little better. So how do I put it? The is an article, light blue triangle. Brown is an adjective, dark blue triangle. Shoe is a noun, black triangle. So you would be putting all of them. Now coming down to the next exercises. Now when I'm choosing my adjectives, I have to also be a little careful. Now say for example, if I've chosen my noun as sky, what can be the describing word for the sky? I can say
Blue
sky. I can say bright sky. Can I say the rough sky?
Cloudy.
I can't say the rough sky, right?
Dark
So I can
sky.
say, no, I can't say the cloudy sky. Yeah, we can. We can describe
Dark
it.
sky.
Huh?
Dark sky.
The dark sky, yes. So choose the rightful words. So when you're describing your noun, when it is logically correct, we call it logical adjective. Okay. So for example, if I have a word pillow, how can I describe the pillow? Soft pillow.
Soft pillow.
Hard pillow.
Big
Hard pillow, yes. I can say wet
Spongy
pillow,
Spongy.
wet pillow, spongy pillow,
Light
yeah,
pillow.
light pillow, yes, heavy pillow. So you will be able to describe it better. So that means all your describing words has to be logically correct. Okay, this is something that you need to always take care whenever you work on your presentations. Okay, now if you would be able to see this, you would be able to understand. Say for example, if at all, if I'm working on the pig, that's your sentence. It's a label together. Now, if I have to put and describe the pig, okay. Now, what is the color of the pig? It is pink in color. So I have to bring my adjective pink. So I have to cut my labels. Now I would reshuffle and I say the pink pig or pig pink the. Try to reshuffle and find out what would be the rightful sentence for all of us. That is something which the child will have to be working. And as an inference, the teacher will make us understand that the adjective is always before a noun. Now you represent it in this way. So you keep your grammar symbol cards this way, and you should be able to finish your exercise. Now, how do we work on the materials? Now, if at all, if I have materials, how do I work on that material? Okay, now we were just talking about adjectives, right? So do I have adjective materials for me to show to children? Definitely yes, I should be having my grammar symbol box, and I would introduce grammar symbol box to my students, right? So how does my grammar symbol box look like? So let's take a look at the sentence cards. So we would have to choose two things. One is for the labels, one is for your grammar symbol box. Okay. Now in your labels, if you notice, I would have sentences also. Can you see the first sentence here? The red book, the black book. Can you see that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So that's your
Yes.
sentence card. So you will be able to keep your sentences there. And in your separate sections here, you would have individual words which is sorted and kept. So what we would be working over here is like when a teacher takes up all those particular objects, you should be able to give them the differences. Say, for example, when I take up the first sentence and start reading, you would have individual words. Now, this becomes an easy kind of a sentence construction for a child. Now you give them an opportunity to reshuffle the red book or book the red or the red book. Okay. So whatever sounds correct is what you will be able to keep it, and choose the rightful grammar symbol right on top of each of those particular words. Now that becomes your first exercise wherein you would be placing the rightful grammar symbols according to the statements. So what is the job of a child here? The child will have to only identify what is the article in this sentence. Is there any noun? Is there any adjective? Clear? So we figured out, yes, there is an article, there's an adjective, there is a noun in my first exercise. So this was my first exercise. Moving to the next one after this particular thing, what is my next thing that I would move to in my function of words? What is the next thing that I would move to?
Pronoun.
Pronoun. Okay, so as of now, I said I would not be able to go to pronouns. So I would, yeah, yes. So
Adverb.
now I've,
Verb.
pardon?
Verb.
Okay, okay, fine. Next, we will go to logical adjectives. As I mentioned earlier, adjectives has to be logical, right? So let's go to the logical adjectives and find out what can all be my combinations that I would be able to make using this particular exercise. Okay. So let me quickly present that. Yes. So this can be my logical adjectives. So I will have a box which will have two sets of cards. So what should be my first set of card? I would have for nouns. My second set of cards will be for my adjectives because it's logical adjectives. So I should have a noun and a describing word for that noun. But I'm not considering my articles at all here. It's only a noun and my adjective. Now I can have all my adjectives on this particular thing. Say, for example, I'm first taking my word boy, then I'm taking women. Yes, it's also a noun. Then I'm taking another card man. Man is also noun. I'm taking room. Room is also noun. So I understood, okay, all these four words, whatever I picked, these are nouns. Now I start taking my other cards, blue cards, maybe large, stubborn, noisy, new, modern, wise, dark, lazy, pretty. So I choose some of the cards kept over here. Now, what is my exercise over here is like, every time that you're giving a card to the child will have to read out. Okay. Say, for example, if I taken the word as boy, can the boy be stubborn? Definitely yes. Can the boy be lazy? Yes, he can be. Can the boy be wise? He can be. Can the boy be deep? No, he can't be. So you should be able to match the words to the logical representation of its describing word. So that's the exercise for this. Now, say for example, if I've taken this cookie and if I don't mention it, is it a round cookie? Is it a square cookie? Is it a what are the different kinds of cookies we can actually have? Chocolate cookies. Yeah. Different kinds of cookies. Yeah, if you have kids who love to eat cookies, you will find different kinds of cookies, right? So you can describe that cookie. Yeah. So as of now, yes, let's keep it as the square cookie. So square is describing that cookie. Now I can have a frosted cookie. So that's a frosted cookie. I can have the fortune cookie. Definitely yes. So you can describe a cookie in different ways, and then the child will be able to represent. So that's your logical adjective, I could say, which helps me to actually work on my exercises. Moving to my next important thing is related to my preposition. Now, what is preposition? Positional word. Or much before that, let me take conjunctions, because after conjunction, it becomes easy for me to go on prepositions. Okay, so let's move to conjunctions. So conjunctions are represented by a pink rectangle in Montessori. So what do we do here? I have to take some objects. Before we go to some objects, what we will have to be working is like to introduce very simple to children. What can we do in our classes? How can we introduce conjunctions in our classes? Simple exercises.
Injections,
Huh?
but.
No, you can't say this, but becomes a conjunction. No. With simple examples. We know we have different kinds of conjunctions: and, but, or,
And
so, far, yet. Then what else? Like I can say but, yeah, or, so, then for,
And
yet,
although,
and, although, because, while, since. They're all, I could say they're all subordinating conjunctions. There are two kinds of conjunctions. We have coordinating conjunctions and subordinating conjunctions. We would only be working in our preschools only on our coordinating conjunctions. Okay, so we would not go for subordinating. So if you want, you can still note it down. Okay, they are subordinating conjunctions. Those could be because, although, then, while, if, yes, when, since. Okay, so that would be there. So like say for example, what is coordinating conjunction? To give you differences between in a very simple way. See, whenever we talk about these conjunctions, we call them as coordinating. So that means they connect equal parts of a sentence. That means they have two independent clauses. For example, the cat, it's independent. The rat is independent. The cat and the rat. So they are connecting two independent clauses. Okay, so that is one thing. Now, what is my subordinating conjunction? So they introduce a dependent clause and they cannot stand alone because it makes an incomplete sentence. I am sick today. Why? The sentence is not complete because I got drenched in rain yesterday. So both of them are so dependent and they cannot stand complete without one another. So this we can actually use in our classes. Okay. So yeah. But again, when we are using these subordinate ones, what we need to always work is like whenever you're working with these, you need to always use a comma. So that also comes down when you're trying to work on helping the children to work on sentences. Like say, for example, she likes ice cream, but he prefers cakes. So she likes ice creams, comma, she prefers, but he prefers cake. So I can always work on those kinds of exercises for our children. So what is one thing that I'm going to be using here to represent these ones, coordinating conjunctions, is a pink rectangle that is going to help me. Now, say for example, to have a very simple exercise, what I would do in my classes is either I can bring 3 pencils or 3 colors, or I can bring even 3 colorful flowers. Now, say for example, if I bought the red flower, okay, so this is one of my sentence. It's an individual sentence, or I could say the individual clause, the red flower. Similarly, I got the yellow flower, and then I also got the blue flower. Now, what I have to do is like I have to join those flowers together. So anytime that you're trying to join them, you have to use something what? A joining word. That is nothing but my conjunction. So my and comes in. The red flower and the blue flower.
Blue flower.
Okay, so it's pretty simple. So I put a full stop period. Now, what if I bring another one, the yellow one? I can't say the red flower and the blue flower and the yellow flower. So what I do, I would remove the and here. I would put a comma and then I would
Red,
say and at the
yellow.
last I would put and the yellow flower. The red flower, comma, the blue
Yellow
flower
flower.
and the yellow flower. Okay, so you should be able to have it and the full stop comes at the end of the sentence. Now, can you give me the function of words for the conjunction? Conjunction, so where do I place? So, the is an article. Red becomes my
Adjective.
red becomes my adjective. What color? Blue triangle. Flower
Yes.
is my noun.
Noun.
So,
Yes.
article, adjective, noun,
Noun.
conjunction, article, adjective, noun.
Noun.
Okay, light blue triangle, dark blue triangle, dark black triangle. So large black triangle would represent my noun in
Noun.
that particular case. That's my conjunction. Okay. Now coming down to our other sentences. Now say for example, in case if I want to introduce the conjunctions and show it to you, what are all the different things that I would have? Definitely yes, I need to bring my grammar symbol box. What else I would need? I would need the sentence cards also. And I should be introducing all those particular label cards also. Now, what we do here, now say for example, if you have a choice. Now, if you choose one sentence, this box might have 2-3 sentences. And Rupam, you will have this material at school. So you can go through this material. But if you don't know, you'll have to wait until I come and show it to you if you have not unboxed it. It's a new material that you have received it. Okay. So what you can do here is like you have a sentence there. The sentence reads, do not look this word up in the dictionary. Look it up in the encyclopedia. Okay, so that's your sentence. Now I should have all these words in my box here. They might be shuffled. So it's the responsibility of the children to figure it out and lay it into a sentence. What does the child do? The child starts to lay out word by word. Okay, so you would teach them to lay out word by word. See, it's the same sentence, whatever you have. Now, what is one difference that we notice here is the different colors of the cards, right? So, slowly you will get to understand why the colors are also so different because one word can be an article, one can be a noun, one can be a pronoun, one could be a preposition. Okay, so you would be able to see the differences, but right now we are not seeing all of that. We are only concentrating on my prepositional word. Now, what is my prepositional word here? Do not look this word up in the dictionary. Look it up in the encyclopedia. Maybe up could be one of my prepositional word. Yes. So you have to figure that out and you will have to be working and helping the students to keep up that grammar symbols accordingly. Okay. So let's move to the next one. Now you had your conjunction. Now what is my preposition? Preposition is my positional word. Okay.
Positional.
So I would be using a green crescent. Okay. So green crescent is the symbol that I would be using to introduce prepositions to children. Now, when we are working on this exercise, now you need to now tell me whether I am able to work on these exercise in the rightful way or not. Okay. So let me go back to the previous one. Okay. So yeah. Can you give me one sentence, please? One sentence.
The pen is kept on the table.
The pen is
The
kept
pen
on
is
the table.
kept
Yeah.
on.
So what's the positional word there? What is the positional word there?
On.
On. Okay. One more.
On.
One more. One more.
The cat is behind.
Yes, Kavya. The cat is behind
Behind the chair.
Wardrobe.
Yeah, the cat is behind the wardrobe. So behind becomes your preposition. So the is the article, cat is the noun, behind is the preposition, wardrobe again is your noun, right? So yes, so all that. So sorry that I'm just running through the slides. Give me a moment. Okay, so if you take a look at this, it says like, place the blue cone near the pink cube. If I have this sentence, place is my verb, right? So verb is represented by what? It is represented by a red circle is what we described. The is again the article, blue is the adjective, cone is your noun, near is your preposition. So we put it by a crescent. The is again your article, adjective, and your noun. So that completes your sentence. So every time that you actually have it, you need to be making up your word card similar to it and make sentences with all these kinds of prepositions like in, on, in front, behind, near, far, up, down, under, over, besides, next to, and far off. So every sentence that you create, Sonali, you need to have a sentence card. At the same time, you need to also have your label cards also along with that. So that helps me. But for the demonstration, I'm still taking the 3 flowers that I used for my conjunction. What are the colors? The blue flower, the red flower, and the purple flower. But I've also taken another one here, the was. Now, what I'm trying to do here now is I would combine all of them, the blue flower and the red flower and the purple flower, and I will put it in the was. Okay, so I've chosen my preposition as in here. Okay, if you see here, I've chosen my preposition as in. So in is my preposition. Yes. So did you see here? I've eliminated something here. What have I eliminated? And I have replaced that by
And
comma. The first and I have replaced it by a comma. And towards the end, I have also put my period. So that is also showing to me in the red color. Now I would represent the same thing using my function of words. Now everywhere that I have and, I have put my conjunction, but I would slowly remove the first and I would put a comma there. Okay, so that helps me. Now there are more sentences. Can you take a look here? Lay the kitten under the basket. So if you go with your label cards, you will choose the label card similar to it. Lay the kitten under the basket. So lay becomes your verb. The is your article. Kitten is your noun. Under is your preposition. The is your article. Basket is your noun. So it becomes easy. So that means this grammar symbol box helps children identify every word in a sentence, whether it is a noun, verb, adverb, adjective, preposition, conjunction, interjunction, what it is, the child will be able to figure that out. Now, moving to the next function of word, what we have is a verb. Now, what is verb? Anything that you
circle.
Anything that it is an action word, that is my verb. Anything that involves movement, that becomes verb. Say, for example, jump. Everybody jumps. So we have an action there. When I say clap, everybody claps, right? So when we say run, we run. Now, when you're trying to work with a noun over here, how can I have an action word to a noun? Now, here is what you're going to be having. Say, for example, yes. So when you say cow jumps, so I can take an object cow and I can literally ask the children to jump over something. I say cow jump. Then I can take the miniature object of the dog and I can say dog jump. Horse jump. So I'm teaching one action with multiple nouns over here. Now, how do I work here? The dog jumps, the horse sleeps, the cow barks, right? So you should be able to logically give certain sentences so that the child will be able to figure out the verbs appropriately. So when I have this using the representation, the is my article, dog is my
Noun.
Noun.
bark is
Verb.
verb. So you got the representation of how we have to be working. Now if I say the ball, the ball. Okay, spin the ball. So spin is again your spinning the ball, right? So that's your verb. So spin the ball. Now what's adverb? Anything that describes the verb. Now when I
Yes.
say jump, I can say jump slowly, jump fastly, jump
Yes.
carefully, right? So I'm describing that action. So I can say cow jumps slowly, dog jumps fastly, or horse please run carefully. So I can use adverbs when I'm trying to work on it. So adverb is represented by a orange circle in our classes. Now take a sentence. The dog barks loudly. The is the article. Dog is your adjective. Sorry, noun. Barks is your
Verb.
verb. And loudly becomes your
Adverb.
adverb. Okay. So that helps you to work on your function of words. Okay. Now moving to your next particular part. What exactly we have in our lessons could be related to the recordings that I had to show it to you. Okay. Now what we have is like whatever that I showed you right now. So we would have covered most of those function of words. You definitely have a 2D model and a 3D model also. So this is your 3D models. So this becomes your grammar symbols. And this is how your grammar symbol material would look like. Okay. So you have, this is your, can you tell me what is that? For what do we use that? We just learned circle is for, red circle is for verb. Circle is for verb. Okay, so I have a three-dimensional module. Okay, next moving down to my orange one. So orange small circle is for my adverb. Very good. Next, I would take my large black triangle. That is for my
Noun.
noun. Very good. So next we would have a dark blue triangle. That's for
Adjective.
adjective. Light blue is article. Okay, so light blue is article. Okay, so articles are your A, an, and the. And we also use a purple triangle. That is for a pronoun. Okay, so we are not doing pronouns for preschoolers. We do it for elementary. For preschool, we don't use pronouns, but pronoun is purple in color. Now, green crescent, we use it for what? For your preposition. Yes. Next, I would use my pink rectangle for what?
Conjunction.
We use conjunction as a pink rectangle. Then you have your golden color symbol like this. So that is used for your interjunction. Like words like wonderful, awesome, wow, right? So anything that has an expression which is used to represent an exclamation mark which stands out for itself, we consider it to be an interjunction. So these are some of the symbols or the materials that we use it in our classrooms to introduce children about what I could say, the Montessori materials itself. Okay, moving to the next part of how exactly what I could say the materials in two-dimensional would look like. I would just show it to you. Just give me a moment. So with 2D, this looks very simple. Okay, so that's your for this material. That's your 3D material. So 2D materials are very simple. So now moving to your symbols and sentences, what the teacher would do here becomes a little simple. Okay, so once the child learns all your grammar symbols and other things, so this is your grammar symbol box, you can give them any kind of sentences. So you can take a strip of paper and start writing any sentences. Say, for example, you have learned all the grammar symbols. Now it is time for you to decode. So you can write any sentence. Say, for example, I give a sentence like she smiled and growled or patted, anything that I could actually give. So maybe here we are saying like, she growled, sorry, she smiled and bowed. Now, can you figure out what is the verb here?
Smile.
Smiled. Yeah, that's my action word. Do we have any other action word here?
Board, board.
Oh.
Bowed. So can we have two action words in a sentence?
Yes.
No. Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes, ma'am.
So what kind of a sentence it is? It is a sentence with one subject and two actions.
Actions.
Okay. So I have one subject and two actions. What are my actions? Smiled and bowed. What is my subject? Subject is nothing but the noun.
She.
Noun. So that's
She.
she. And do I
She.
have a conjunction?
And.
Yes. So and is my conjunction. So what should be my appropriate symbols that I will have to be picking from this box?
Black
She.
triangle. Pink
She.
Black
rectangle.
triangle. Okay.
Pronoun.
Okay. Now you can
She
differentiate
pronoun.
here. Now
Purple.
she becomes a pronoun. So I should use a purple one. So the
Purple.
first thing is
Yes.
we separate the words. And now you start identifying every word. So you always start with verbs, which are nothing but my
Verbs.
actions. So I have two verbs. Okay. And who
Purple
smiled?
triangle.
She smiled.
She.
So she is a pronoun.
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 Okay. And
Purple
who
triangle.
bowed? She
And
bowed. And comes in there. So that becomes my
Pink rectangle.
conjunction. So that's my pink
rectangle.
rectangle. So that's how.
Conjunction.
Now I can give more sentences. The ball fell down. So what's my first thing? The child will have to be able to segregate. So this is only when you don't have the material. So if you have the material, there are already pre-constructed sentences and there are pre-constructed labels to those sentences. But teachers, they want to give new sentences which is appropriate to their classes. So you can always write it and cut it in front of the child and let the child will be able to differentiate. Now tell me, what is my action? Fell. How did it fall? Fell.
Ball
Okay,
is
so yes,
noun.
all is a noun. The becomes your
Is article.
articles. So what's my down?
Down is
Fell down.
action
Fell
word.
down. Down. So
Preposition.
yeah, so down becomes the describing word for my noun. So that's my pronoun. I sat on the chair.
Chair. Sat is verb.
Sat is a verb, definitely.
I is pronoun.
I is a pronoun.
On is preposition.
Preposition. Yes.
D is article. Chair is
Yes.
noun.
I sat on the chair, right? So sat. So always start with the action word.
Yeah.
I. So it's a pronoun because I'm using it as a subject. So chair is again my noun. Yes. What's the? That's an article.
The
On.
article. On
On
preposition.
becomes my preposition. So easy. So that's how you would be able to construct simple sentences using the cards. So if you don't have the ready-made cards available, you can always make the cards all by your own. You can spontaneously, you can start making the words along with that. Okay. So similar to that, we might have cards which is related to my verbs. We can also have cards which is related to conjunctions, interjunctions, even for articles and all of that. But always children have difficulty when it comes down to articles because they don't know when to use rightfully, the, right? So for that, we can always model it with some kind of demonstrations. When I say about demonstration, so you can keep some objects where it is only one and you can keep some objects where it is many. Now, say for example, if I ask the child to handing over of a particular object, say for example, if I ask them, can you give me A pig. Can you give me pig? Okay. Now, is it a pig or the pig? You ask questions. Is it one of it or is it many of it? If it's one of it, it becomes the pig. Okay. Now, there's
Many
only
of it,
one object there. Many of it, and you have taken one, it becomes a. Now, say for example, in case if we take up the next object, now say it becomes the pig. Now you choose the rightful article and you actually have to place it. Now, if I ask the child, can you give me bug? Now, is it one of it or many of it?
one of it.
Many. There were many, right? See, can you see here? There were many bugs. So I say, give me bug. So you take bug. So is it one or is it many? There are many. So what should be the article if it's many? Is it
Yeah.
or the?
A.
It should be so you have to choose again the rightful article for it. So that helps the child to actually pick up. So when you read, it becomes a bug, the pig. Okay. Now say for example, if I ask the child, can you give me the sleigh? Now the child understood. Okay, it is the sleigh, a stamp, a pin, a pencil, right? So it goes so simple to all of us in that particular way, wherein the child is able to identify if it's one, it's always the, if it's many, it's always yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So that helps me to work on my helping the child understand about my nouns. Okay. Now, yeah. So similarly for pencil. So if I'm choosing, if I say orange pencil, it's one of it. Then I have to say the orange pencil. If I only say pencil, it's a pencil. Okay. An egg. Now, is it a, an, or the? Because the word is beginning with. The word is beginning with. Yes, it's beginning with your vowel. So it becomes an egg. An egg. It is not your A or D. Okay. So that helps the children to actually put up or the learning about your articles. Now you ask them to read sequentially and then keep questioning to the child, is it one of it? Is it many of it? Does it sound appropriate? Does it not sound appropriate? Okay. In that way is what we have to be working with children to give them more introduction to all of it. Okay. So that's one thing that we actually have. And coming down to the adjectives, what I said was like, what is a prior requirement for the teachers is you have to make sure sometimes we don't get materials. So what we need to be working is like to make a lot of materials. Okay, so you can have a box like this, which helps me to work on keeping all my adjectives, and it has to be a logical adjective. Okay, so you have to sort out all the nouns. Now, if you see, the nouns are all in cards, black cards, and the adjectives are all in blue color. Now, what you need to find here is like you need to find out the right combination. Okay, when the child is able to read, the child should be able to read it rightfully. Now, is it a tin cap? Is it a tin pan? Is it a tin dog? Is it a tin bug? Is it a tin bag? Okay, so until you find the right combination, you keep doing this exercise. Now, this is one of the exercise that you actually have to do, and this is considered to be as what? A logical adjective material. Okay, so your describing words has to be logically correct. So can I say wet bug, wet dog, wet cap? What could be there? So maybe the wet dog. See, we can have many things. Anything can be appropriate. You keep redoing things. I can still say wet bed. It logically sounds correct. Or I could say big pan. It is correct. Big cap. It is correct. Okay. You have to give opportunities for children so that they would be able to explore things in the rightful way. Okay. So this is my simple exercise on the the logical adjectives. So that is one of the simple exercise of we helping the child to sort out some of the exercises. So likewise, do we have some more? Like say, for example, if I have to choose verb. Okay. So again, verb is represented by what? A red circle, right? So when I have to actually have to give them the materials like that, I can have both. both my 3D and my 2D materials. Both I can give to children. So the child will be able to figure it out. Okay, so this is my verb. So you have these separate cards. Okay, even the boxes will be color coded. So you have to choose your grammar symbol box, the label card box, and sentence boxes. So you would pick up the appropriate sentence. The sentence says, close the door, lock the door. So do we have an action word here? Close, lock, both are actions. Close the door, right? So that's my action. So what's the action word that I choose? Individual
Close.
cards. Earlier, whatever I showed was like, if we don't have this material, teachers, you have to write, you have to cut it, and you have to give it to the children. But if you have the material with you, which is readily available, which is expensive though, then you will be bound to use only those sentences. So whichever way is convenient to you, you can use it. So you can make your cards by yourself, or you can use the material which is available. Okay, so this is called the grammar symbol kit in Montessori. So you will be able to get many boxes which will help you to discover the parts of speech. Now lock the door, close the door. So we found the sentences and we are able to figure out also what is an action word, what is an article, and what is a noun. Okay, so that is simple. So now we have understood how to place the materials in a rightful way. Okay, so these are related to your symbol boxes and a very simple exercises for all of us to actually work through. Likewise, as I said, we do have it for our conjunction also. And if at all, if you see here, there are different kinds of materials that I could say. Now, when we talk about adjectives, say for example, whenever I talk about adjectives, there are different kinds of adjectives, correct? So far we have discussed about one kind of adjective. We have discussed only about one kind of adjective, correct? Say, what was that? Anything that describes my noun, that becomes my adjective. So have we ever thought there are different types of adjectives? Because it helps me further
Yes, ma'am.
segregate. Now, say for example, how can I go? Yes, if at all, if I want to talk about my quantity,
A big.
okay. So yeah, if at all, if I want to talk about my quantity, like, how much,
How many?
how much or how many, okay. So I would be able to quantify that. So I can put it under quantity. Now again, in my quantity, there are different types. Good, we started with quantity. So here, when somebody said how much, right? So when you used like much, how many, when you use words like how much, how many, right? Or few,
How
few
long?
of them, how long, few. When you use these kinds of
Many.
quantitative measures, don't you think it becomes my indefinite? I don't know. It's countless. Okay, sometimes yes, right? So few of them. So it's indefinite. Now say for example, if I say, can you please give me one chocolate?
Count.
So when I say that, that's my definite quantitative adjective. So here I say, can you please give me one chocolate? Can you give me two chocolates? Can you give me three chocolates? So it's definite, wherein I'm able to quantitatively describe my adjective. Now, can I also have my adjectives which are talking about my ordinals? Maybe like, he's the first person. So maybe anything which is related to my ordinal numbers, first, second, third. Okay. So this kind of adjectives are quantitative. Okay. The adjectives this way are quantitative. Now, say for example, we also came across sentences wherein I said, today is my birthday. Okay, so today is my birthday. So when I have words like my, okay, today is your birthday. So when you use words like this, my, your, her, his, right? So they are all possessive about
That,
yourself, right? So they are possessive adjectives. When you use words like this, they are possessive adjective. It's adjective only, but they're possessive adjective. Why I'm giving you these differences is, even when somebody gives you a sentence like that, if you find these words also, you should be able to figure out that it is an adjective. You should not get confused whether it is pronoun or what it is. Okay, it can be an adjective. It can be a possessive adjective. Okay, and coming down to interrogative, questions like
Who,
what, when, who. So
when,
those
whom,
becomes, yes, whose watch is this? Okay, so that's again an adjective. So interrogative, I can say that.
interrogate.
Interrogative adjective, wherever there is a lot of questions that you actually ask. Okay, can you please pass me that one? Can you please give me this one? When I use words which are trying to demonstrate something. So those are demonstrative adjectives, like words like that, this, those, right? So I can also have adjectives which are demonstrative. I can say, can you please pass me that? Okay. So what else we have? We can also have something which is related to, we spoke about quantity, but what about quality? So I can also have qualitative. So qualitative,
Yes.
yeah, this is so sweet. This is so bitter.
Bitter.
So I can also talk about that. This is so pathetic. So I can
This
also
is
talk about the
beautiful.
quality of it. So that is also my adjective.
Quality
Right?
of
Yes. So all these things can be a part of our
noun.
adjectives. And we should be able to give the symbol blue triangle.
Blue triangle.
Blue triangle for our adjectives. So anything that we have missed here? I think we have covered all. Pronoun, I'm not covering. Interjunction, we are not covering here. Okay, so it's not there for preschool. So it's not a part of our curriculum also. But if at all, if you would like to know, we can definitely take up another class wherein you do a little bit more of grammar. Okay, there's always, once we do phonic sessions, there is always advanced grammar. You can always learn on that. Okay. So yeah, command cards, you can always work on command cards. You can give command cards because that's something which is helpful for you. Like what are command cards? Like you give 2 cards for the children and they have to go hand in hand. Say for example, whenever you're working on your verbs, no, you always work on command cards. So what are command cards? I will give children some commands. Okay. So I say sit, stand. So what should the child do? The child will have to be able to perform both the actions, sit and stand. So the child will have to do both. Like, but they have to be correlated to one another. Sit and stand, eat and drink, run and jump, or hop and jump, then wave and clap, something that goes together. So those kinds of command cards also you can create, and you can also say catch and throw, put and throw, anything like that. So you can choose your command cards that way. So that will also help our children to work. Okay. So that covers your grammar symbol box. Okay. Yes. So that's it for today. And we will be meeting you all on Thursday. And Thursday we would continue with simple sentence construction. Along with that, we would also be able to get into the compound sentence constructions, suffixes, prefixes, and synonyms, antonyms, and compound words. That will complete your language portion. Okay. So yes, so wishing you all once again a very happy Onam. And yeah, 1 second. Yes. As you had anything that you wanted to ask me on this? No?
One example for intersection, ma'am. Intersection, one example.
Wow, what a beautiful day. So what's your interjunction there?
Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. So that's your interjunction.
Okay.
Okay. So let's quickly get on
Thanks,
to
ma'am.
our gallery mode for today's attendance. So I did not notice so many of you were there. Okay. Everybody joined a little late today. Okay. Okay, so today's participants, thank you very much, Shanta, Sonali, Tulsi, Uma, Rupam, Shashita, Shobha. Again, I have Uma, Usha, Annie. Okay, good to have you, Annie. Kavya, Neha, Shweta, Shravani, good to hear from you as well. Shubha, Swati, Vasanta Kumari. Yes, and few more absentees. So we missed you for today's session. So I'll see you again on Thursday. Thank you very much. A quick count of 9,
Thank you,
8,
ma'am.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cheers, everyone. Thank you, guys. Have a great evening, all of you, and wishing you all once again a very happy Onam. Meeting you all again on Thursday. Loads of
Thank
love.
you,
Take
ma'am.
care. Bye bye. Take care.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
Thank you, ma'am.